All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So, Steph Curry and Jonathan Kuminga in the last 10 games are the highest scoring duo in the entire league. In fact, Kuminga has now had 5 games in his 183 game career where he's gotten 20 or more points and 9 or more rebounds. But here's the kicker: he's gotten that mark 4 times in his last 8 games. Folks, something feels different about the Golden State Warriors. At the time of this recording, we're actually less than 48 hours away from the NBA trade deadline, and Golden State is sitting here at 22-25, which is 12th in the Western Conference. So I have a feeling moves are going to be made. I don't know how crazy it is going to be. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the video. I've seen DeJounte Murray. I've seen Nick Claxton. I've seen Jonathan Isaac, which I'm a fan of. It does worry me a little bit due to his injury concerns, but my favorite target is Alex Caruso. We'll talk about all that a little bit later on in the video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NBA content, along with daily Warriors content. Warriors fans, if we try and get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So Golden State's in such an interesting spot right now because you've got Draymond Green is back. He's healthy. He's unsuspended. That whole situation was complete and utter BS, but that's neither here nor there. Folks, Steph Curry's still in the prime of his NBA career. 46% from the field, 41% from downtown, 28 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5 assists. So the championship window is still there. Now, I get it. We've been seeing in the trade rumor sphere on the Warriors, like Chris Paul. I think the Warriors 100% should trade Chris Paul. We've also seen Andrew Wiggins. Jonathan Kuminga's recent ascension has complicated Andrew Wiggins a little bit, and Andrew Wiggins just sprained his ankle. He looked like he was back on the come up. You've also heard Klay Thompson. To be quite honest with you, Klay Thompson's not going anywhere. Steph's not going anywhere, obviously, and Draymond's not going anywhere, obviously. I think they're going to keep the big 3 core together. Now, with that being said, the Warriors still need to make moves. All right, they are 8th in the NBA in total points per game, but they are the 9th worst opponents points per game team. So defense is a huge concern, or it's a huge need, a huge point of upgrade, and a lot of it has to do with just injuries, which is very unideal. But Golden State last night got a huge win on the road against the Brooklyn Nets, where we saw Steph Curry have all the threes that they made. It was a horrible shooting night for Golden State. They went 4-22 from downtown. But like we said, Jonathan Kuminga in his recent ascension, most improved player, on the rise here, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. Now, like I said, you have Draymond Green back. We saw B-Pod get the spot start with Andrew Wiggins' injury. B-Pod's future is so unbelievably bright. If I'm the Golden State Warriors, I cannot trade Jonathan Kuminga. Because first off, even if the Warriors wanted to trade Kuminga, they're not going to get the proper return back to make that make any type of sense. The way Jonathan Kuminga looks this season, specifically in the last month or so, nobody's going to give you the haul that's going to make that trade worth it. If it even, like I said, if you even wanted to trade JK for some weird reason, I wouldn't trade Moses Moody. I think Moses Moody deserves a ton of more minutes when he comes back, or he is now back. So as he gets eased back into it, I think he deserves a lot more minutes than, like, let's say 15 minutes a night. I do think that Chris Paul will be traded. I think Chris Paul's injury made it extremely evident that he's going to be traded. Outside of that, I don't think they make any type of move. So when we're talking about Chris Paul, or we're even just talking about a trade in general, here are some rumors that I've seen, some Warriors trade deadline targets. I think a lot of these are out of the realm of possibility. What I want for Golden State is just like a veteran rim running center, like they have in their championship runs. I also think just in general, Andrew Wiggins kind of getting back in the flow state, I think that's going to go a very long way. I know the Warriors' current record is 22-25, but I have zero worries. I have zero concerns about this team, especially when you use a squad like the Lakers last year, who were in a very similar situation prior to the trade deadline, and they end up making the Western Conference Finals. So first and foremost, you have DeJounte Murray. I think this is way too... This just isn't possible. Or I mean, it is possible, but I don't think it's viable. I don't think it's a move that is going to be made. In fact, I don't think it's a move that they really should make. So we're going to move on from DeJounte Murray. Second off, we have Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, this one could be interesting because he's not a great defender. He does what he needs to do on the defensive side, but Detroit is such a desperate team this season. I know he's one of their only veterans on the squad, but like Detroit's horrible. I mean, they are a horrible team. And Golden State picking up Bojan Bogdanovic, I think that would go very well. Now, with that being said, Golden State doesn't have a three-point shooting issue. I know Klay Thompson can be very inconsistent at times. I need him to just plant his feet. I think he sways too far left, he sways too far right. And at this point in Klay's career, I think he's just a spot-up shooter. I actually would not be surprised if he was eventually benched, because if he's not hitting his threes, unfortunately, and I'm a huge Klay Thompson fan, I don't really know what he is providing me. Next up, we have DeMar DeRozan. Now, Chicago, just like Detroit's in an interesting position where I'm from Chicago, and I wanted to see the Bulls back in the playoffs, but Zach LaVine just got injured for the entire season, and they do have an intriguing piece who's kind of breaking out in Kobe White, Jack and Cheddar Cheese, Kobe White. Lonzo Ball is injured. I don't know if Chicago is actually going to sell. DeMar with JK and with Wiggins is another one of those players that I just don't really think Golden State needs to look into. Kyle Kuzma, I think, would be like, here's the thing. Kyle Kuzma and Daniel Gafford coming on over, I think would result in a championship window again. I mean, they're kind of in a championship window still with Steph Curry still in his prime, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, if Kyle Kuzma and Daniel Gafford tomorrow were on the Golden State Warriors, I think they would win the championship. And my only issue is Kyle Kuzma, I don't think Washington trades him. And to get both of those two players, you're going to have to give up a piece that you don't want to give up. And maybe they could get away with Wiggins and Chris Paul or something like that, but I don't think it's all that viable. So finally, we have my favorite trade idea, and it revolves around the Orlando Magic. So we mentioned earlier on in the video about Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac's injury concerns are certainly a thing. But this trade would have Wendell Carter Jr. and Jonathan Isaac coming on over. Golden State, at the end of the day, I think they're just too small. I think we're just too small of a team. And Carter is having a good season. He also, just like Jonathan Isaac, has had some injury issues. But when he is healthy, he came back in mid-January, on January 15th. He's been averaging 15 points and 7 rebounds. I think that would be a completely franchise-altering move if they were to acquire both Jonathan Isaac and Wendell Carter Jr. Even just Wendell Carter Jr., like I said, a kind of proven rim-running big, just a big in general, I think would change everything for Golden State for the rest of the season. Nonetheless, I'm not panicking. I know you guys aren't panicking as well, but that's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and we will see you soon. Let me know your thoughts on those trades. Who do you want the Golden State to trade for? Let me know down below. We'll see you next.